Hello, you guys. How are you? How are you? How are you? So, listen, I want to talk to you about starting your nonprofit organizations and how starting is not the paperwork and what it really takes to get funded and to sustain your work. I want to first say thank you all for joining my YouTube. Thank you for those of you that are listening on my YouTube channel. I appreciate your likes, your shares, your comments, and your subscribing. For those of you that are listening on my podcast, Nonprofit Nuggets with Jennifer Yarbrough, thank you so very much for tuning in. I so enjoy getting the emails and the comments that how the podcast is really helping you in your clarity and understanding about the work of the nonprofit. That really brings me a lot of joy. It lets me know that my work is not in vain. All right, let's get right into it. All right, I want to clear up one of the biggest myths in the nonprofit world. One of the biggest myths in the nonprofit world. A lot of people think that starting a nonprofit is the paperwork, the 501(c)(3), the EIN, the bylaws, the articles of incorporation, even having board members, right? People on your board, because that's a part of the paperwork that is required that you have people on your board. But I want you to understand that that paperwork, having your 501(c)(3) or filing the application to be recognized as a 501(c)(3), your EIN, the bylaws, the registering at the state, the website, the program, okay? That's not starting a nonprofit. Now I'm gonna let that sink right there, okay? That's not starting a nonprofit. That's simply the legal formalization, the paperwork and the legalese that allows you to exist on paper. That's what the filing does. Now, I know that there's a lot of people that say, I can help you start your nonprofit. Let's do the paperwork. The paperwork just allows you to be recognized and to exist on paper. When we talk about actually starting a nonprofit, we're talking about something very different. We're talking about the building an organization that can operate, attract funding, support programs, and sustain impact over time. Did you hear what I said? When we talk about actually starting a nonprofit, we're talking about building an organization that can operate, attract funding, support the program, and sustain impact over time. I want to break down clearly what this means, okay? Because this misunderstanding is why so many nonprofits never get funded and never survive past the early stages of your existence, all right? Here's what I hear all the time. I started my nonprofit, and when I ask, what does that mean? The person says, I got my 501(c)(3). I got my 501(c)(3), Jen. I got my program. I started my nonprofit. And what they think that means is I got my 501(c)(3. I got my program. But that's not starting a nonprofit. That's registering a legal entity with the IRS. Think of it this way. The paperwork does not build capacity. The paperwork does not attract donors. The paperwork does not run programs. The paperwork does not manage the money. The paperwork does not prove impact. Paperwork simply allows you to legally do the business of a tax-exempt organization. So the paperwork equals permission. The paperwork equals the permission to operate as a tax-exempt organization. That means that you have the permission to generate the revenue needed that is exempt of taxes to accomplish your mission. Okay. The organization, which is what you started a nonprofit organization. The organization now is the entity that has the capacity, the capability. The organization has the capability of ensuring that it has enough revenue coming in to sustain itself. That's the organization. The organization has the capability, has the structure, has the systems to operate, to be able to sustain itself. Most of you are stopping at the paperwork or the permission to be tax exempt, but never build the compatibility or the capacity to operate as an organization, right? So when we talk about really starting your nonprofit, we mean making sure that the administrative and the structural foundation is in place. This includes your financial systems, right? You've created an organization that has the capability and the capacity to sustain itself. That's what the nonprofit is. It's not the program, it's not the paperwork. The organization is the system, is the administration that ensures that it is able to support and sustain itself. All right. So, what does that include? What does the organization or the administrative or structural foundation of the organization include to ensure, again, that you have the resources to support itself? That's your financial systems. That's understanding how money flows, right? The program is just an expense, money going out, no money coming in through the program. The program only has money going out. So understanding how does money come into the organization? That's your financial system, right? Having a realistic budget. What's a budget include? A budget includes expenses and revenue, money flowing into the organization so that you have the resources to sustain itself. Knowing what it actually costs to run the program, right? And separating personal and organizational finances, tracking income and expenses. That's the financial system of the organization that has to be set up. Then you have your board structure, right? Not just names, but those names have clear roles and responsibilities, right? That their role is not operations. Their role is ensuring that you, along with them, have the resources coming into the organization so that you are able to operate. The role of the board is more external, not internal. Your role as the executive director is internal, right? So the board structure is designed to provide financial oversight and leadership with you to ensure that the organization has what it needs to be able to accomplish its mission and financially to be able to sustain itself. The organization also includes operations, how the program is delivered, how the participants are served, how volunteers are managed, how work is done consistently, right? That's the operations part of the organization. Then there's the fundraising part of the organization. Where does money come from? Diversifying the funding streams, the grants, the individuals, the events, the earned revenue, the partnerships. The financial structure or the financial system is a plan. It's not a hope. It's a plan within the organization to ensure that the organization has the money it needs to operate. Okay, this is what it means when you set up the nonprofit organization. You then have communications, communicating with who? That means building awareness, that means branding, that means introduction, that means follow up, that means cultivation. That's your communications. Many of you have your CRM, but don't know how to use it. That's a very important part of the operations. These are just some of the components that ensure your organization has what it needs to actually support the program. Again, you didn't start a program. Your organization is structured to ensure that you have what it needs to support the program. Here's another confusing point, another major confusing point. Many nonprofit leaders are focused entirely on their why, the program that they want to run, right? Many leaders are focused on their why. They're focused on why they started the program. They're focused on the program that they want to run. But the program is not the organization. The program is not the organization. The program delivers the services. The program is designed through the activities to meet the needs of the program participants. The program creates impact. The program serves the people within the program itself, right? The program is what you do to meet and accomplish the mission, all right? The program is what you do. Jen, we feed the homeless. Jen, we mentor. Jen, we have after school programs. Those are the things that you deliver. That's serving the people. But that's a program. That's not the nonprofit organization. The organization supports the program. The organization manages the money. The organization employs the people. The organization tracks the outcomes. The organization reports to funders. The organizations build trust. The organization sustains the impact. You can have the most powerful program in the world. And if the organization behind it is weak, the program will fall. I'm going to say that again. You can have the most powerful program in the world. And if the organization behind it is weak, the program will fail. Programs serve people. Organizations sustain impact. All right? And this is where a lot of people get tripped up, especially if they're coming from the for-profit or entrepreneurial space. In the for-profit business model, you can start with little or no money. You can start with little or no money. You can bootstrap. You can sell a product or a service. You can invest or reinvest revenue as you grow. You can see how growth creates the income, right? That's in the for-profit business model. In the nonprofit organization, you can't rely on sales alone. You must prove credibility first. You must earn trust before funding. You must earn trust before funding. You must show structure before the grant. You must show accountability before the investment, right? So there's a distinction between how the for-profit and how the nonprofit organizations can start. And many of you who are coming from a space or possibly hearing how for-profits begin, the nonprofit as a business itself begins differently. In the nonprofit space, if you start without a clear strategy of how money will come in, the organization won't thrive. You can't just start it and then try to figure it out later. That's more conducive to the for-profit business model. You won't win grant funding that way. You won't get the funding or the trust from your donors, your funders, and supporters. You won't build donor confidence because donors and funders are not customers. They are investors in impact. I'm going to say that again. Donors and funders are not customers. They are investors in impact. You're not selling your program. You're proving that you can deliver impact. And that's what they're investing in. In a nonprofit, you don't go to figure it out later. You must have clarity, structure, a fundraising plan, an administrative system before you scale. Before you scale, funders expect a return on their investment. They expect accountability. They expect outcomes. They respect reporting. They expect transparency. They want to know, if I give you this money, what happens next? Okay. Here's a key point that I think many of you are missing. Hope is not a fundraising strategy. Passion is not a budget. And good intentions are not accountability. Did you hear what I said? If you're listening to this and thinking, wow, I thought I was starting a nonprofit, but I've only done the paperwork, that's okay. This is not about shame. This is about clarity. Okay. You don't know what you don't know. And I believe that I'm the only one out here who's really explaining it, because I really want to make sure that when you start, that you have the structure, that you have the systems, that you have the tools to be sustainable. That's what I talk about. And I was having a very powerful conversation recently, and they were saying, Jen, I'm not clear about what you mean by organization. I'm not sure, when you say I started an organization, what does that mean? Starting a nonprofit means that you are building your organization. That means you are building a system, a structure, an entity, a business that can accomplish a mission, not do a program. The mission is what your donors and funders are supporting. They are understanding through your mission why this work matters, not your passion for the program. All right. So you're building an organization that is designed and purposed to benefit the community. You're not just launching the program. You also it means that you understand how money flows. If you have started a nonprofit, but you don't understand how money flows, you don't understand how and why money is given, you don't understand how to put together a budget, you don't understand the diversification of funding streams, you didn't understand any of that. You just started a program. That means you started an organization without knowing how to operate the organization. And that's the job of you, the executive director, is to run the day-to-day operations of the organization, not deliver the program. The role of you and the board is to ensure that the organization has the resources and the revenue needed to operate, to continue to achieve its mission, not just to do your program. Being able to explain your impact, the value of what you do is in the impact or the problem that you solve, not that you have passion for a program, or not why you started your program, or not that you need the money for your program. No, it's being able to clearly articulate and to explain why this work is important to the community. That's how you are able to build trust, with your donors, your funders, your supporters, your contributors. If they don't know you, if they don't trust you, they're not going to give you their money. Trust you what? Trust you with what? Trust you with your ability and your capacity to actually achieve the mission, not fulfill your passion to do the program. Listen, the sooner you get this, the faster everything within your organization is going to change. Okay? If you're serious about building a nonprofit that actually gets funded and lasts, you don't need another template or another random video. You need a strategy. You need clarity, and you need someone who understands nonprofit operations. That's exactly why I invite you, as a founder, to schedule time with me, right? If you would like to have a conversation and if you are serious about the strategy of putting together your organization so that it can sustain itself. I want you to know that that's what it is intended to do. That when you start a nonprofit, it is intended for you to be able to have the systems, the tools, the resources to support itself. All right. I want you to go to www.timewithjen, that's JEN.com, www.timewithjen.com, and book a strategy call. All right. I'm here to help you look at where you are, what's missing, what's holding you back, and how to build the structure and the funding plan that your nonprofit needs to thrive. The paperwork makes you legal, the strategy makes you fundable, and structure makes you sustainable. All right. If you're ready to stop guessing and start building this thing the right way, I'm here to show you how. I'll see you on my calendar, and I hope that this information has been helpful, has been clear, and help you to bring some understanding to what you started. Okay. And now we just need to get you the systems and the tools, the organizational structure, so that not only can you do your program, but that you can generate the resources to sustain it. I'll see you next time.